Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 314, Fast 5, Lap 13. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe 2, and this episode's brought to you by Raised in Oblivion X, the first survival first-person shooter game on the blockchain. Raised in Oblivion, or just Rio, is an online game and survival set in Rio de Janeiro City. Shout out to RioX.io.
Shout out to RioX.io and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever with us tonight to talk about, this is very exciting, Joe. We were talking about this. It's the first time we've done Fast 5
I'm hyped
in
today,
the Fast
honestly.
10 era.
Yeah.
Where Dante at? He's all over this movie in the background, scurrying around behind walls. With us tonight to talk about this film, we have editor and producer and one of my favorite letterboxers, Lisa Williams. Hello, Lisa.
Hello, how are you?
Welcome.
And welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
This is very exciting. We play a lot of letterbox-based games on this show, not in this episode, but in the pit stops. And I don't think we've ever used your profile. Actually, hold on.
You'll be able to see. Yeah, Joey keeps track.
I wonder here. Hang on. We're going to find out if we can play the letterbox game with Lisa's profile. Let's see if there's any of these movies that you can guess. Hold on. Ooh, we covered her number 2 film for this podcast. There's no way you remember that we talked about this movie.
Absolutely not.
It was a movie that I loved that you were like, that was fine. I thought it was one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. It was, I don't know when we covered this. I don't know why we covered this. It was a bonus episode. Andy Samberger's in it.
Yes, not Rad, but the other one that he's in with the dirt bike.
Mm-hmm.
I forget the name of it. Not Kick-Ass.
The fact that you remember the vehicle is pretty close. Hot Rod.
Hot Rod, yes.
Yeah, I love that. I'm just like, holy moly, this movie's great.
Yes.
Near and dear to my heart.
And then number 4, Joe, is a letterboxed all-star. A movie that Mark Hoffmeyer, friend of the show, was just talking about and asking about on Twitter.
Was just talking about this movie?
Yeah. We haven't covered it yet, but I love
know.
it. This is my favorite movie by this guy.
I don't know.
Scott Pilgrim.
We were just watching. Do you know that we were just drunk watching Scott Pilgrim like the other night?
Well, you know, these are all good movies. And 10 Things I Hate About You on the Social Network. These are good movies. These are very good movies.
I found all of my favorite movies by 2011, and then I stopped, I guess.
Yeah.
We can learn from that.
You got old. Just like everybody else. You're like, I'm done with new things.
Hey, I gave up a long time ago.
So it's good that we are covering a movie from 2011 then, because this is still in your era when you were like, maybe something new will come around. Maybe I will like something new.
Funny, because I didn't grow up watching movies, like, really at all.
Really?
And so, yeah. And so, like, all of this is, I'm going back in the log now as an adult, like, since the beginning of COVID to catch what I missed.
I will say that
Wild.
Lisa
Awesome.
watches as many, if not more, movies than me. So she's like dedicated
That's a ton.
to the craft.
Yeah, that's a lot. Joey does a lot more than I do ever.
Yeah. So before we talk about Fast 5, we have some very important questions to find out a little bit more about you.
Ooh.
There's no wrong answers. There's actually probably no right answers, to be perfectly honest, if we're being honest here. There are things in these movies that normal people do not pick out that we have obsessed upon and over and want answers about, even though we will never get answers. So we ask every one of our guests what these things could possibly mean, or how you would react to these things or whatever. And, you know, we're looking for some kind of, we're looking for love in a hopeless place. So number one,
In all the wrong places.
in the first movie, when Mia, and I know that you rewatch, how far did you get in the rewatch in terms of this? I know you watched this one, but did you get past the first, how far did you get?
Finished it. We watched Fast 10 yesterday, so
Wow.
Nice.
Dedicated. Absolutely amazing.
nice
So, okay.
long weekend.
So in the first film, there is the scene where Brian and Mia are doing dishes and Vince comes in drunk and starts antagonizing them. And Mia says, "Hey, Vince, what's the name of that restaurant you want to take me to? The wood tables, the little red candles, the picadillo, the food all over the place." And he says, "Cha, cha, cha." And she says, "Yeah, Brian, you can take me there." So Lisa, you smash hit. This is a podcast winner. Our fans all love you. You're the favorite guest. We're like, next time you're in the New York area, we'll take you out to dinner. There's just as a thank you, there's this awesome restaurant. It's got these wood tables. It's got these red candles. It's got this picadillo. It's got this food all over the place. If you hear a restaurant described as having food all over the place, what does that mean to you? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Is that a scary thing? Is it an exciting thing? What does that phrase mean to you?
Well, two things, because I feel like what they mean is like food fight style. But to me, I would think like maybe it's a buffet, like if I was in
Yeah.
a normal world. But then in like Fast and Furious world, I feel like maybe they're getting in like a big brawl there, and so the food is always all over the place. So I would think you were taking me to a street fight, I think, is what I
Oh.
would think about that.
Would you say yes or would you say no?
No, I have very fragile bones. I would not be good in a street fight.
Bird.
I'm more of a Tej type, or like a I gotta
Okay.
be sort of I'm the guy in the chair.
Okay.
You know what I was just
Perfect.
thinking this time, Joey?
What?
Just this time that you said that, like, what if it was just conveyor belt sushi? So
We've
there was
never had that as an answer.
I know, because it's a Cuban restaurant.
But I feel like that's such a normal thing that you'd be like, oh, the one with the conveyor belt? Like, that's how you would describe that restaurant. You
Yeah,
wouldn't say
not
the
like
one with
food all over the place. Yeah.
Maybe she's never been to a restaurant with good service before, and so she's like shocked that there's food on every table at the same time.
Oh, yeah, they're really bad at their delivery times.
Or
Yeah.
that she's, that I was going to say she's never been to a restaurant at all. I mean, she works at the cafe, right? So, like, she works at the Market
Technically a
Cafe.
restaurant. Yeah.
So she knows how restaurants operate. It's just so I don't know if we don't know if it's an improv line. Like basically, if we ever talk to Jenna Brewster, we have one question for her. What did that mean? And then we can let her go. That's all we want. We just want to know.
That's a good point, though, Joey, because if she's working at like a counter at the diner
So you think that she's saying that the cafe, the food is contained behind the counter?
and it's only a little bit of food, this is like a real restaurant. It has food all over the place.
Maybe it's like a Brazilian steakhouse where they're like walking around with the meat.
Yeah. Meat Mountain. My favorite.
There's so many things this could mean.
And none of them are real good answers, but there's
No.
so many answers. Okay. So now, fast forward to Furious 7. There's the other two questions we're going to ask her about this. So there's the scene, if you'll remember, where they need to steal the part from the car, and they have Roman Pierce shine bright like only Roman can. He needs to distract the room. He does the happy birthday song. We're like, Lisa, we're going to steal something, and we need your help. Joe and I are going to go in the other room, do some stuff, lifting cars, stealing cars, whatever we're doing. We need you to shine bright like only Lisa can. What song are you singing that's either so good people can't take their eyes and ears off you, or is so bad they can't take their eyes and
Or
ears
your
off
normal
you?
karaoke song, too.
Good question. Okay, well, these are all different answers. Well, none of them will be good, guys, because I'm not a good singer. But
That's okay.
I feel like you'd have to go for the longest song you can, right?
That's
So
very
I
generous of
feel
you.
like you would want
Freebird.
to do like Bohemian Rhapsody or
That's a
something.
good one. Yeah,
Like something
that's a good
really
one.
long. It
Yeah.
also has a lot of different notes, so people can be shocked at
Sing
my
along.
lack of singing ability.
The sing
People
along
might
aspect.
join in, depends on how drunk everybody is at the big party. But again, I'm not good in a fight, so I don't know that I'd be super helpful in that scenario. I would try my best though.
Bohemian Rhapsody is a good song, though. Good choice. Good choice.
Yeah, I like the sing along aspect. That get the crowd into it.
Exactly.
You can kind of hand it off. You'll be good, and you're right. Long. I like it.
I always wondered why that girl like kind of plays along.
I think there's probably a certain element that you're at a fancy party and
Language barrier?
maybe language. I was just thinking that, like, if you play along, like, you can't be blamed. Like, he's doing
That's true.
something weird. But if she's like, it's not my birthday, then it's like, she becomes the problem in a way.
That's true.
Weird. Okay. Yeah, I get it though. I see it.
I think I would get overwhelmed and probably not say anything. So
I
maybe
think that
that's
also
Yeah,
might feel like
freeze.
I don't know what this man is doing in front of me. Okay.
Leave me alone.
So in that same movie, Roman bragging about how he took that, he's like recapping past movies. He's like, I took that jet down the sky, blah, blah. And then Brian says, the only thing I've ever seen you take down is No Knees Denise at prom. If you hear a person, not doesn't have to be a woman, just any person who is described as having no knees, what are you picturing?
That's a
I like the kindness to keep saying these are good questions. They're not good questions. They're terrible questions.
Yeah, they just don't make any sense.
They also have nothing to do with these movies, but they're the only questions we want answers to.
well, I mean, you know how I watch movies. It's like I pick up on the most minuscule thing that I can and just really stay in that. I feel like it probably means something a little bit vulgar,
Mm-hmm.
but rather than
Possibly.
going there, well, I mean, obviously it does, but I'm thinking of something that you typically do on your knees, and that maybe she doesn't do that. But I'm thinking maybe she was just really drunk and like kind of,
Like wobbly?
yeah, I'm gonna go with that instead.
Oh, like shaky knees Denise at prom.
She's like kind of
sway. She has the
not
drunk girl
super,
sway.
yeah, exactly.
I don't know if we've had drunk. The other thing is like something that people like both ways. Either she does it so much or not at all. And like I don't know if that's the right answer or not. There's no clarity here. It's unclear. But I like the
It
drunk,
sounds
the
sexual.
wobbly.
It definitely does sound sexual, but at the same time, it doesn't make any sense. So
Right. There's a certain Pillow Princess vibe to it, but I can't really, you can't, it doesn't really make sense as a nickname other than that it rhymes.
Well, yeah,
So,
it's a negative. It's a derogatory thing that Brian is using this poor woman that we don't know. We might never meet. Probably never meet. It'd be weird if we met her by this
would
point.
love to.
Who would you cast as No Niece Denise? Because there was a moment when Cardi B was announced. We're like, maybe she'll play No Niece Denise. But
I love her little cameo. She's got one of the best cameos because they let her talk for 30 seconds and it's all, she's just talking about how good she is at her job.
Mhm.
Denise.
someone
Go
that
with,
dated Roman at prom or went to prom with Roman who
right, gotta be age appropriate. I'll go Olivia Munn. I feel like
Ooh.
that'll hit the sort of right age demo.
the age thing is
Right,
going to get
sort of.
me. Because I was thinking, I got an idea based on how they just used her in Oppenheimer. Florence Pugh would be a good No Niece Denise.
She's like 20 years too young.
I know. That's what I'm saying. The age thing really gets me here.
How they, and I do like how you phrase that, how they used her in Oppenheimer, because they did use her in Oppenheimer.
They used her, yeah.
I
Anyway.
haven't seen it yet.
Oh, well, get ready for no women to do anything of any note.
I love the past.
The past is so good. Joe and I have talked a lot about...
we were talking about it behind the scenes. Cause we
Joe's
talked
like,
about
this is
it.
how it happened. I'm like, yeah, but still women, like, had lives. Like, you could tell other stories, but, you know, whatever.
It is complete...
Why, when you could tell men's stories?
Exactly, yeah.
So good. Okay, so to kick off the conversation, later we're going to play a game. We're going to find out which Fast and Furious character you are. We're going to do like a personality quiz, like a BuzzFeed J14 style quiz. We're going to do that a little bit later. But to kick off the conversation about this movie, this lap, our 13th time through, the theme is planes, trains, but no automobiles. So in between these movies, we're watching movies that have a chase scene or a major vehicle that is not a car. So boat, train, motorcycle, whatever. They're all in this movie. We can talk about all of them a little bit later. Skateboard, maybe. But Joe and I each have a question for you. Again, no wrong answers, no pressure. If you don't have an answer, you can just skip it. But do you have a favorite movie that has a prominent vehicle in it? Well, I guess it's Hot Rod. That isn't a car.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it is Hot Rod. I don't know that that's what I would have thought of
Well, what would you think of?
organically.
So way to derail it.
No, I mean that is
Joey,
I know you
blame
said there's no
Joey.
right answer.
Yeah, no, it's my fault. That's my fault.
That is
Everything's my fault.
technically
It's
the
fine.
right answer. And there's a moped in 10 Things I Hate About You, which is my favorite movie. So I don't know if that counts. David
does
Crumholtz
count.
sort of flies off the cliff, and there's no point to that at all, but it does happen.
That's a
There's
good
no
one.
plot payoff. Nothing like there's no consequences of that. They just make him drive off a cliff on his moped, and he sort of fumbles all the way down. And then the
I saw
scene's
the movie
over.
for the first time this year, and I loved it.
So good.
It's wonderful.
I love a good comfort movie.
Yeah. Joe?
On a similar kind of related note, what is the coolest, most interesting or most memorable vehicle you've been in or driven that isn't a car?
This is a tough one. Some people have, like, it took me a long time to figure out an answer to this. I finally had a good answer, but it took me a while.
I dated somebody in college that was very into sailing, so I was
That's
on a lot
sick.
of boats at that time.
Very cool. Did you have boat shoes and everything?
No, and I know I didn't learn. I never knew what they were talking about because it's like a different language.
Yeah.
And I didn't learn how to do anything. So,
You got to be on a
but
boat.
it was fun to be on the boats. Yeah.
That's cool as shit, yeah. I don't think I've ever been on a sailboat. Now, maybe on.
Have you been on a boat? Like what? I've been on a speedboat, like out, like on a lake.
I've been on a million boats, but like not a. I don't
million boats.
A million boats.
Every day.
That's a lot of boats.
A lot of boats, a lot of sizes. Fishing boats. Big
I don't think I've
boats,
been on a sailboat either. Though sailboat sounds
cruise
nice.
boats.
That's some real like talented
It
Mr.
was-
Ripley shit.
Yeah.
Extra nice for me because I didn't have to do anything. I was always
Yeah.
with sailors.
That's even better. Yeah.
So, oh wait, first we didn't do this, so we need to know. I know you just rewatched all the movies. I know that you have sent your rankings to me. I wrote them down, unless they changed in the last
Ooh.
couple of days. Can you hit us with your rankings of these movies, either favorite to least favorite or least favorite to favorite, whichever way you want to go?
Yes, I can. And I just added Fast 10. So,
okay, so I need to change this. This is so exciting.
I
Okay.
did. I was waffling on where I put it. I'm not really married to it. But Fast 5 is my favorite one.
Cool.
So
Perfect.
Awesome.
feeling blessed to be here for this, but also like maybe I should have requested a different one because I feel there's so much more to criticize in so many of the other movies.
Also fair.
more,
yeah.
more fuel. 6 and 7 I feel like are very close second and third.
Okay.
Fast 9 I like so much. It's so stupid and I like it. And also Cypher leaves you alone for a while, so I think that that's nice because I
Do
really
you like
don't
her
like her.
more in 10, or you don't like her? Because 8 she's a lot, 9 she's a different kind of a lot, and then 10 I think they're kind of like, oh right, we kind of like her, we can do stuff with her. Do you like? Does she have any kind of like character rebound for you in the new one or no?
I feel like she's kind of just there. She's just like something to occupy Letty, it feels like, more so than anything else.
Another woman wanting women to do things in movies.
That's
Yeah, I know.
my
Just because they
favorite of
can't
her
keep
3
track of time
appearances.
and they fight for 75 minutes in
Ugh.
4 minutes.
Oh my gosh. My roommate and I were just talking about because as I was going writing down all of the facts that you learn about Mia, because you never
All
learn
7 of
anything
them?
about Mia.
Yeah.
I think I got up to 8.
I was
I did
close.
get up to 8.
My
facetious
favorite character
guess.
though. My favorite character in the franchise.
But we were saying next time around we would count how many facts we learn about everyone because none of these characters, to be honest, are particularly three-dimensional. So
No.
we'll check but next time around to see if anyone has more than 8 facts about them.
I mean, my favorite character about any of the, or my favorite fact about any of these characters, we talked about this a lot, is that the entire first movie she's in, Gal Gadot's character Giselle, is not referenced by name. She doesn't have a name in an entire movie, where she is like 4th build.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
Pretty cool. So you have F9 at number 4.
Right. I forgot where we were going with this. Then the original.
Okay.
Okay.
Very strong first entry. I just think that the other ones it's just not as fun as the other ones. Then I'll say Fast 10 goes
Okay.
there. Those are all, I mean, this is where we start getting into the ones I care for less. So all of those
Fair.
are good in my books. Too Fast, Too Furious, I feel is contrived to me, but I do think that it's fun and I think everyone looks so hot. Then Fast and Furious, I think that one is boring and it's not silly. They are in the caves for so long. Very
It's a long
Iron
time.
Man, too long to be in caves. Then The Fate of the Furious, and that is largely due to Charlize,
Okay.
as well as I don't think that one is very interesting. Then Tokyo Drift, I know that's not a popular opinion, but I just don't like it. and then last, coming in dead last, Hobbs and Shaw.
So what's a little wild, and then not wild, but like it feels like over the last couple of years since the initial buzz wore off about them, people were really
9.
high on Hobbs and Shaw and 9, and then they both kind of slipped. So it's interesting to me that you really like one of those and don't like the other one, even though they're very, very wildly different movies in just about every way. It feels like the two of them, like their stocks kind of slipped
Tanked. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
together.
I will say that a lot of that is personal preference, that I love Jason Statham and I am a rock hater until I die. So
Ah, interesting. Okay.
I feel like that project is just, Hobbs and Shaw is such a circle jerk for both of them to be, like, it just is so, it's such a
Totally.
ego project that like I wrote as I was watching it, I was writing down there like there's so many, it's just two guys saying like taglines the whole movie
Yep,
is just
yeah.
they were just making the trailer and they were like, if we say as many things as we can put in the trailer, then we'll have so many options.
Yep.
And I just think that some of the dialogue could sound more, nobody talks like that.
Nobody talks like that or for that long as
No.
monologues over and over and over again.
I want to share a joke that I was going to say to so we have like a family
tell
text
me.
thread, and I was like, the joke, like if it was with you, I would have said it, you would have laughed, we would have moved on, but it would have required so much heavy lifting for not a good joke. But my sister, there's like a bunch of deer, there's like baby deer that are like around her house, and she's like obsessed because she loves like young, small,
Yeah,
cute animals.
it's cute. Yeah.
And she's like, confirmed there are 7 babies. And I was like, I wanted to say, if they're all male and they all grow up, they can become The Rock's production company, $7. But like, I would have had to it would have required so much
Yeah,
explanation.
that's a joke that we could just. That was good. Keep it pushing. We're
But
good.
just like, yeah, like it's just like, oh, like, cause I'm like, oh, $7, there we go. And like, it's not even a joke, it's just like a reference. But I was just like, I have to explain that he's got the company, where it came from, why he had no money, all this different stuff. And just
Blah,
like,
blah,
it's not
blah.
worth it. But here
Yeah.
we are in a safe space. Speaking of safe spaces, Lisa, Fast Five, your favorite of these movies. Where do you want to start? Favorite moments, least favorite moments? Did it play for you any differently this time now that so much of Fast 10 is like a throwback to this movie?
And you just watched it, yeah.
Where do you want to
Yeah,
begin?
well, I mean, I liked Fast 10, and I think that, I mean, it's I know that family is the tie that binds in these movies, but I do think that other than Cypher, like I can't think of a truly significant character that we've added in since 6 that has been not a family member of another character.
True.
So I
Very
did
fair.
like something that I do like is that we aren't, well, no, I guess we are doing surprise family here too, aren't we?
Yeah,
we don't
Momoa.
get well, I
Or
mean,
here.
right, but
You mean in 5?
yes, so no
Okay.
surprise family in this one, if memory serves.
No, I mean, there's like the surprise in this movie is that Letty is not dead after
Right.
all, but that's in the credits. But yeah, no, the only like the
Yes.
new characters are all going to later have surprise family, kind of, right?
Right.
But like, yes, there's no surprise family.
We're
beginning in
setting
this one.
up, we're really stacking the blocks to bring in everybody that's going to come from here. But I do feel like I like that we're not pulling a rabbit out of a hat with a new family member. But I guess I don't know where to start.
I will say
I
on
have
that note,
so many notes.
it makes more sense to have Reyes not mention he has a son than for Dom to never mention he has a brother.
Well, and there is that one part where Mia calls Dom her only brother.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've talked about that for sure.
Mhm. Or how they do like how Hobbs and Shaw exists, and yet in the main franchise, Hattie is not a person.
Well, right. So we've got secret parents, secret siblings, secret children. I feel like we're running out of, because we just got Tess also, secret daughter.
And there might be more secret family there. Actually, hold
I mean,
on.
I guess it's not really a secret, I guess, for some of them.
No, but it's
the
still
only
like
real secret, I guess, is Jacob and Brian too. But
yeah. Okay, hold on. I forgot the most exciting thing about this entire lap. Joe, we got crazy credits.
Oh shit! Go ahead, hit us
So,
with those
Lisa, I
crazy
found
credits.
on IMDb for every movie there's a one of the features called crazy credits, and I'm like, I have no idea what this could possibly be. It
And I was
sounds
hyped. We were hyped.
so exciting. Like this could be the coolest thing in the world.
What
And
does that
all it
mean?
is user submitted descriptions of credits. That's it. I don't know why they call it crazy credits. It doesn't make any sense.
Nothing
They're
interesting.
never interesting.
Nope.
And yet all of these in every movie are so widely upvoted. People are like, this is interesting. Thank you so much for sharing. So there's 4. There's 4 for this movie.
Hit us with these crazy credits.
Number 1, all capital letters, spoiler. After the credits roll, Agent Fuentes, parentheses, Ava Mendez, comes in with a file to Hobbs' office. He asks if the file contains news on Dom and says he is not interested when she says it doesn't. This is verbatim. There's so much detail here. She informs him he should be very interested and asks if he believes in ghosts as she shows him a picture of Letty, alive. 39 people, that's interesting. 1 person, not interesting.
Oh man, who's that one
Okay.
guy? Well, who's the dissenter?
I don't know. But there's a few. So the next two also have one dissenter. Maybe it's the same person. So number two.
This is just a hater.
That was so detailed about like, but it's not well retold. It's just like, this is what happens. He says this. She says this. She informs him. She shows him a picture. Comma, alive. Okay,
In
number
fairness,
two.
it's not a very interesting scene, all said and told.
I've said this on the podcast a lot before. This is the first Fast and Furious movie I ever watched, and so I was like, oh, she's in these movies. Okay, but like it didn't hit.
It
for
didn't
me,
hit.
just,
Yeah,
I didn't. Didn't know
Not-
Eva
yeah.
Mendes was in these movies. Didn't know Michelle
Well,
Rodriguez
and
was.
never to be seen from again. So
Never ever. Okay, crazy credit number two. The CG race between Dom and Brian that takes place during the credits goes through every location of previous The Fast and the Furious movies.
Thumbs up. How many? 32?
34.
That was close.
1.
Yeah.
who's even going in this section? That seems
Joey
like too many
Joey
people to
spends
be
a
in this.
lot of time on IMDb, like, for doing stuff like this, and this is the first time he found it.
I found it like a month ago, and I'm like, this is so exciting. It sucks, but
40
it's
people
exciting.
voting on this?
Yep.
All right.
All right. Crazy credit, number 3. That also, they don't go through every location of previous Fast and Furious movies.
I think
Whatever.
it's just the ones for this movie, but okay.
Number 3, crazy credit number 3. The credits showing the main cast also show memorable scenes from every previous The Fast and the Furious movie they have been in. So
Same-
it's the
same
same
fact.
thing,
Yeah.
but instead of cars, it's people.
Okay.
33 yes, 1 no.
Okay.
Now, the controversial one.
Ooh.
The credits begin with CG race between Brian and Dom. 15 yes, 6 no.
Oh,
I think they're because, like, yeah, that guy just said it.
bummer.
Which one was posted first? Can you tell?
I don't know. No, it doesn't have dates. It sorts in order of
Popularity.
Popularity,
usefulness or popularity, and so yeah, I don't know, because that's the thing. Like, for movies that have a lot of trivia, when I copy all the trivia and I post that, like, there's like hundreds of things. Like there's going to be like repeats because like people just do repeats, but there's 4.
Right.
So when this person did the 4th one, there were only 3 ostensibly, and
How-
one was the exact same thing,
Imagine
but
how
typed
bad
better.
you have to feel. Like, you come back and you check it and you're like, my crazy credits isn't doing numbers.
You have the one stinker on Fast Five.
Yeah,
At least, Joe,
man.
they got their information on IMDb. Imagine what it's like to
Wes.
not get your stuff onto IMDb.
Exactly.
All right, Lisa, I killed some time with some terrible, crazy credits. Pick a place. You have so many notes. You say, where do you want to start? What do you want to
You
talk
have
about?
so many notes.
Do you have a favorite part or favorite character?
My favorite character is Letty, so she's not
Okay.
here.
Mhm. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I do really like Roman, though. I feel like he might be my other favorite character. So this is kind of actually not a good. Roman does a lot of really weird stuff in this movie, like just so many really weird lines. I think maybe I'll start with one of the things that perplexed me the most about this movie.
Ooh, okay.
So when Tej and Rome are meeting Gal Gadot, what's her name? Giselle. He hits on her, and then she says that her legs open at the same time that she pulls the trigger of the. What does that mean? I mean, it implies that she's going to shoot him and sleep with him, but what is it?
My impression is that it's a very wordy way of saying "over my dead body."
Yes, that's
Right.
exactly what I
But
get.
over
Yeah.
But
your
she's the
dead
one
body?
pulling the trigger.
Yeah. I'd rather. Yeah, I'll fuck you if you die.
Maybe she's
Right.
revealing something very, very sinister about her sexual proclivities.
Because there's a version of that that's like a little quip, and this is not that.
No.
No.
And I just have a lot of questions about what that means.
We could also just chalk it up to the language barrier, maybe.
I don't think so. Yeah, like, it sounds much better in my language. You just.
Yeah, right.
You
It's
know, like-
actually it's a colloquialism.
Everyone in the Mossad talks about it. Like it's perfect. You had to be there though.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the things that I find the most perplexing. There is another one.
Okay.
When they emerge from the sewers, Mia and Brian and Dom,
Yes.
and Dom says the plan is for Brian and Mia to go together, and then Dom's gonna go be the distraction. And Mia's like, "Don't split up. I'm pregnant, and I already lost my family once." And then Brian, first of all, I think it's weird to tell your brother and your boyfriend that you're pregnant
At the exact
all
same
together.
Yeah.
And then they do a group hug about it, which is also weird. And then Brian turns to her and says, "I'm not going anywhere," which was the original play. Like, he was supposed to be with her the whole time. But then Dom is like, "Okay, I won't leave you either." So she gets what she wants. But I just was, when he's like, "I'm not going anywhere," I'm like,
you were
that actually
never
was,
going anywhere.
That was the plan. You were supposed to stay with her.
Yeah.
I was now that you bring up the sewer thing though, when I was watching the movie this time, I was like, they have to smell like shit, right? Like that's.
I mean, there's so much poop in this movie because they
that's what
blow
I
up the
mean.
bathroom too.
I was thinking this time, I was like that's like, okay, they're having this intimate, tender moment where she like admits that she's pregnant.
It's true.
But they all must smell like shit. Like, this has to be like the grossest smelling place to stand in, and they're like knee deep in like just sewer water. This is really
but
gross.
They're dry, like, somehow, even after
somebody would have
emerging from all of
slipped.
that.
You know, somebody would have.
You would think you're running
in.
away. You're running. You would be splashing. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
gross.
think they were like very slowly stepping.
Not holding their noses either. It's just weird.
Yeah, they were fine. They acclimated really quickly, I guess.
Yeah.
I want to say, I really like that Lisa already, like, slipped into, like, lap 13 details with us. Like, this is not, like...
She's dead on.
Like,
I know.
not talking about, like, spectacle or, like, character twists or new characters. Just like, no, let's talk about the weird shit that no one else is talking
I figured y'all have seen it before. You've talked about it before.
No, this is perfect.
Like...
It's perfect.
It's exactly what we need.
Because I do want to say, like, okay, so, like, when the trailers for Fast 10 were coming out, and they're like, oh my god, it's the guy from Fast 5. It's Diogo. He's back. And I'm just like... I don't remember who this is. And so I watched this time and I'm just like, here he is. All right. And he's got like 90 seconds and that's it. So the fact that like that's like an emotional payoff in the new one, it's just like that guy you love from that one scene, you don't even see him race.
I don't think,
back.
does anybody, are we missing something here, Joey? Like, was he like a giant hit in Brazil or something? Like, I don't know, man.
I thought I read something about, like, I don't think that Brazilians particularly liked the depiction of Brazil, and understandably so. I feel like
because it's
maybe
this
it did
third
well
world
in
country.
Brazil because the whole thing is like this is run by the cartel and everyone has machine guns.
Luis da Silva Jr. is an American entertainment industry professional from Elizabeth, New Jersey. So a local boy for me, raised in a loving but humble environment, allows him to focus on his nurture his love for sports and competition. He's got a passion for basketball. He played basketball for a while, had a successful high school career, then started acting when he was 18. So no, this guy's not like a Brazilian legend. He's not a musician.
That's what I mean.
Brazil.
But you know,
He's
with
just
us,
a dude
he
from
could
New
have been
Jersey.
like, oh my god, he's like the hottest Brazilian breakdancer, and we'd have been like, we had no idea, and like that's why they brought him back. But he's just a dude from New Jersey that played some high school ball.
It is interesting is that his Wikipedia bio?
That's his IMDb bio.
Why is it so much about sports?
I don't know.
He's an actor.
He wrote it. I think a lot of these people write it.
Remind you of crazy credits. There's no bar for like entry. No barrier for entry in IMDb.
Yeah, that's true.
Very fair.
I'm always fascinated by how some, like on Letterboxd too, like how some actors have like it's the full thing, like the longest description. And some people is like Cameron Diaz is an actor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, okay. I can tell who has the time to write the bio and who doesn't.
He apparently. Oh, whoa. Hold on. This is cool. So he became an actor because he auditioned for a Nike basketball commercial, but I think he was in that commercial where everybody like dribbling and squeaking the shoes. I think he's in that.
Oh, the like real famous one?
Yeah, like the top 10. This says a top 10 ad campaign of all time.
There's the tie-in.
That's the sports. That's how we're talking
Why
about
he's
sports.
talking about basketball so much. He's like, by the way, I'm the guy from the...
So then it was 7 years later then he started acting in actual movies.
Was he doing commercials or was he like
he was in like a Jodie Foster movie, in the Brave one. He was in Fast 5. He had a small part in 21 Jump Street. And then the last one says, for Luis, another amazing year is just around the corner. In Andrew Baird's One Way, he stars alongside blah, blah, blah. Then, in the 10th entry of the Fast and Furious series, Fast 10, Universal and Vin Diesel have brought him back, and this is why I'm reading it aloud, to reprise his fan-favorite character of Diogo.
Which fans? That's what I'm
asking. You think
asking.
Vin Diesel
Not that,
just loves this guy? Like,
Maybe.
do you think it's just because they
point.
just said Vin Diesel brought him back?
We keep shouting, bring back Suki, Devin Aoki's nowhere to be found.
Ugh. Is she
No
just
one
expensive or
says bring back
something?
Diogo. They're
No,
like,
she got
guess who's back?
Benihana money, dude. She's good.
Yeah,
I
when you
mean-
have Benihana money, that's when you can do whatever you want.
Exactly.
Well,
do
it's
a
apparently
passion
she doesn't
project.
wanna do
Come
Fast
back,
and Furious.
Devin.
I guess so.
If they could get The Rock to come back, they could put a little grease on that Devin Aoki
Seriously.
deal and get it through the
Lisa,
get it
let
through
me
the door.
mansplain to you the pay difference in
I mean,
film
come
for
on,
women
she
and
can't
men.
be making as. That's my point exactly. The Rock has to be more expensive, and I wish they would stop putting him in these movies. So there you go, save some money, cut The Rock.
Do you like him more or less in this one? Because he's just like grunty and sweaty in this one, as opposed to like quippy
good
in later
question.
ones. Do you like him more or less in this than what he becomes?
Well, the thing that I don't like about The Rock is I referred to him as like a member of the girl boss actor. Sort of, he's like always, it's kind of the same thing as Hobbs and Shaw. Like he's always speaking in slogans, and like it's so like nothing about him feels genuine. Everything feels contrived. And it all feels very like rise and grind. Like I'm
This is
such
hilarious.
girl boss.
Yeah, I like that you described him as a girl. It tracks so well. I really love it.
And so in that respect, I do like him more in this movie because he's not doing that yet. He's like not in the franchise enough. Like later on, he's just The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but this is a character still. So I guess I appreciate him more. However, he is also one of the people that's saying so many weird things all the time. Him and Tyrese say a million weird things in this movie. You know, I don't love that. It's differently weird, I guess, but I don't like it when he tells them to put their thunderwear on. I don't think that that's a thing that I'm sure that it gets said, but it feels weird to say to a bunch of grown men to, I don't know. So not how I would conduct
I don't
that
think
monologue.
that anybody's ever said that word before. The Rock did in this movie.
I also thought it was thunderwear until I saw the captions, and I felt like that made more sense.
Wait. The caption says "fun" with an F.
Yes, and he
tweeted
when I was
thunderwear.
Yes,
but it sounds like thunderwear. So we've been saying it wrong the entire time.
And
I
it's also
had this realization
worse.
this morning.
Thunderwear.
It makes less sense if it's thunder. You're like bringing the thunder.
Mm-hmm. Also, it reminds me of like the dogs. Like, what do they call like the thunder shirts that you put dogs in to like not freak them out?
Oh yeah.
Like a bulletproof jockstrap, maybe.
Yeah,
but no.
The caption says
Make it fun.
thunderwear.
Yeah, and his tweet.
The tweet.
You're right. His tweet.
About
He did.
So when I saw the tweet, I'm just like, did he not
The awful
remember? But
tweet.
apparently, we've been wrong.
Peacock and The Rock are in agreement. I don't know if we're wrong or if they're wrong, but that's the.
I'm gonna check out the Amazon subtitles of the digital copy while you keep going. I'm gonna take a look.
That's what it sounds like. This is earth shattering. I thought it was that, and I wrote it down that I hated it with a TH, and then I was looking at it again, and
Do you hate it more with an F?
I do.
yeah, because it makes less sense.
I definitely do.
It also, like, I don't know, I'm not a massive fan of the way that we make sometimes law enforcement who like are in it for the joy of killing look like really cool guys. And so I feel like that's playing into that a little too much for my liking. That's how the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I have a question for both of you while you think about that. Would you rather eat a meal in this sort of sad, probably smelly Rio warehouse where they have a barbecue, or in the Los Angeles warehouse that Jason Statham has a solo steak dinner in Furious 7?
Is Leo still cooking if we're in Rio?
Good question.
I don't think so.
Same foods, two places.
Food, yes. Control. The food is a control.
Well, I don't eat meat, so that's a damper on that answer. I guess, I mean, I don't know.
Well, it could be like a vegetarian meal.
Yeah.
Well, if I eat my solo steak dinner, but it's a Beyond
Yeah, you just have
burger.
the sides or whatever. You know, like, oh, you know, they have sides at the restaurant. You can go there. It's fine. You know, we're all going out for steaks, but like you're fine with just the mashed potatoes, right? You're good.
Yes, that happens to me a lot at barbecues, actually. I think that I would rather be in Rio, because I don't think that I would want to be like in a warehouse by myself. So I think I would rather be with the squad.
I pick warehouse by myself because I think that I think that although they all get along, that I think that I would probably get annoyed being locked down with people like that.
That's true. That's a good
Like, no
point.
matter how much I like them or who it was, like, being locked down with anybody besides Rachel, I'd probably be like, okay, that was enough time. I'm going outside. I'll get us all caught.
Well, and Mia does that too. So
Yeah.
Speaking of Mia, I do want to say I am very proud of Vince for making some serious inroads with his Rio de Janeiro community as an angry white dude. Like, he's got a lot of friends. You know, in
He
a place where I
does.
feel like he should, no one should like him. But he has, like, people who will, like, kill people on his behalf.
He starts out, like, with a little bit of hate in his heart in the first one. So
Oh, yeah, he would have voted for
that's what
Trump
I
if he didn't
mean.
die in this movie.
That's what I mean. So, like, for him to just, like, befriend all these brown people, I agree. Kind of wild.
well, and he has that weird line about how like his I forget her name, but his like wife or girlfriend or whoever is like the only reason that he stayed in Rio, or he would have kept going. I feel like that's an interesting to make a romantic inroad first is an interesting way to go about doing that versus
Yeah, it
like
kind of seems
making
kind
a friend. I
of
mean, it seems harder.
I just put in chat. It is on Amazon as well. Thunderwear.
thunderwear. It is.
Lisa, you've I didn't want to say ruined thing. You've changed my perception of this
I'm
character,
sorry.
that line, these movies.
I'm sorry to have brought it up. It upset me too,
No,
though. I
you're
needed to
fine.
talk about
No,
it.
we learned something very new today, and that doesn't happen every time. So, thank you.
Here we go. Along with the other weird things that are said, that for this is probably the weirdest one. When Tyrese says that, like when he agrees to join the little heist, and he says that he'll do it because $11 million sounds like a whole lot of vaginal activity to me. I don't like that. I think it's a really weird way to say what he's trying to say anyway.
It feels
and-
gross. Yeah, it definitely feels gross.
It's like weirdly clinical.
I agree. It doesn't sound healthy. I think like you should get that checked. It's just
Well,
weird.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
not
know.
even in the fun way that Barbie says vagina.
No.
I don't think Tyrese can like access that.
No.
He can do a lot of things, but I don't think that he has Barbie in his veins, really.
I have all the genitals.
Yeah.
How do they put the money in the safe without Reyes's handprint?
Put the money
How
into the safe.
Yeah, how'd they put it in there?
Oh, he must have been there when they probably like.
No, because
calmed
then he
him down or
comes
something.
back and he's like, "Is all my money here?"
It's probably left open because it was empty. Yeah.
But then, did they all get there at the exact same time, or like was there like
So
time
you're saying
in
that like
between?
at some point there was like $4 million in an open safe somewhere
Yeah,
while they were waiting for the other.
right.
I think that
96
like
million.
he's so terrifying that he's not worried about the henchmen stealing it.
But then he makes them look away when he types in the code, even though they need his handprint.
Paranoid.
So I have a lot
Yeah.
of questions about this.
How do you become 100 millionaire? You don't trust anybody.
It's very
Well,
true.
But then, like, leaving the safe open at any point implies at least some level of trust, or at least knowledge that you've instilled enough fear. So then, why couldn't they know the code? Like, I
No,
think
you
that
wouldn't want
those
them to
things
know
don't
the code.
those things don't marry together for me. But
No, I think you're right. I think that there is, believe it or not, a gap in logic in these movies. But I would not.
You
I don't
think?
think that they should know the codes.
yes, I don't think they should either. I'm just curious about. Also, like, it doesn't really. He's been there for like I don't know. It seems like he was there. It doesn't seem like he just got there. So, I guess I don't. I guess I don't understand like why he wasn't overseeing the process of all of
Maybe the
money
answer to this
coming
question
into
was yes. It was all there when you opened it up for us yesterday. You just keep forgetting because you're so frazzled. But they don't answer that way. I don't know.
Or
Maybe he's been in
better
a lot
answer.
of car chases.
Better answer. Dante's the one that's down there watching over the safe. You got your son there. You don't need to be there. So
True.
he's the one who's watching while it's open. He knows he would call him immediately. He doesn't want them to see the code, but at the same time, he had like his most trustworthy henchman standing there.
That's
we
true.
do see.
I guess they do. They say it's only his handprint, but I guess that's a guess, right? Like,
Oh, there could be
I don't
like
know how
5
they
people
could
with a
know
handprint that
that.
work on
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I don't think Dante's handprint is in it. I don't think so. I think it's literally just him. But he was like, "Hey, go make sure that they're not gonna steal this money while they're loading it." And he's like, "Cool." and he just stays down there for like 8 hours.
I also
while they're,
think
pulling
like it's
up.
all in cash. It would be so easy to like if you're like, is all my money here? Like you can't count all of that. You could really
He's
easily
weighing
get
it.
away with like a lot
Yeah.
of. I mean, but from the house to the, I guess if you, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how accurate the scale is for $100 million. I have not personally ever owned $100 million, so
Or how
Well,
to
I
weigh
guess-
it.
Not with that
I guess
attitude.
only 90 million because they do burn the first cash house.
10, yeah.
That assumes equal distribution. By the way, one of my favorite things in this movie is watching Roman's face while he's burning the pile of money because Roman agreed on the premise that it was $11 million and he's like watching it drop.
Yeah,
Like that's really bold of Vin.
Yeah, he's like, I'm okay burning your 10 million, but not my 1 million.
Yeah, like he just reduces everybody's take by at least some sort of significant
But
amount.
does he reduce everyone's take, or does he guarantee the rest of it?
Good point. Yes.
Well, true. I guess that is true. And maybe he had already calculated for what he was going to burn when he said 100 million.
Here's another
Breakage.
question. You know, bird in the hand, two in the bush, all that. At what point do you just take that $10 million and get out of Rio?
Well, that's what I would do, but I wouldn't find myself in this situation. So
He's gonna fucking murder you. Like, if he's coming to murder you, he's coming to murder you with just as much fiery passion as he is if you take 90 million or 10. So I'm going 90.
well, actually, that's a good point because he can't come after me nearly as easily if I've gotten away with more of his funding.
But like, if he does anything other than the one thing you're expecting him to do, if he liquidates that into cryptocurrency and disperses it into a bunch of different wallets, you know, there's so many different things like he could do with his money.
The
They're
Dante
just-
thing, he collects it all into Swiss bank accounts or whatever. Just steals it all.
So they're counting on him to do the one thing that he actually winds up doing. But if he doesn't do that, they're fucked.
Yeah, true.
I don't know.
Also, now that I'm thinking about
It's a
it, we
big
just
gamble.
said that. If they steal 90 million cash, how does Dante steal it digitally? Because like, what bank let them deposit? Oh, I guess they do go to like Monte Carlo and like gamble it. So they kind of launder it, right? Like some of them do.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Something else about that money when they're like at the barbecue. Tej says he's going to open a garage with the money. Does the garage not belong to him? I thought he owned that garage.
I think it's
In
a different
Miami.
garage.
He already has, yeah. So why? He says that he wants to open a garage that people aren't going to get ripped off at.
And he had a garage. So is he implying that he rips people off at his garage?
Exactly. So he needs a second one to not rip people off at. You can get a fair price at this one, but
I think there's an
not.
implied thing that like most mechanics are ripping people off to some extent, right? So like he's like,
And
hey,
I also think that there's a thing that like I bet that he's been gone so long it's either like he's handed it off or sold that garage. Like I think that he's not in possession of
have
the
they been
original
on that
Miami.
Because
Timeline wise, yeah.
that's where he like he's been in Miami that whole time, has he not?
Oh, good point. Yeah. Yeah, maybe he just like moved on and like retired or so. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess he could have sold it. Like they made
Yeah.
money off of that. So, but I just thought that was interesting.
weird.
I was like, did he not own the garage? Is he buying a second garage with better pricing? That's something that I caught that I was confused about.
I do like the idea that he owns two garages and in one he's a really big shitbag and the other one he's like totally a good guy.
One's in like the rich people part of town, and he's like, "This is everything
Just
is
scummy.
$100,000."
Exactly.
I feel like we have to talk about The Rock's facial hair too. What's going on with that?
you don't like his goatee?
Looks like a sponge. Why is it so square?
It's a good question. Maybe he's trying to mimic his like high school high top fade, but on his face.
Maybe relive those glory days.
Oh, little young Rock reference. I kind of like that.
It also changes in length, but that's sort of I'm sure that's just reshoots. But they did not get the facial hair right in all of the scenes that they were doing.
In this watch for me, because we were just like talking about 10 and this is the first time we rewatched 5, I was like distinctly looking for places because we see shots that Dante is in.
Where he's dragging the car.
I still couldn't figure out like which car was the one that they hit off. I think it's like the last one that like when Dom hits the one car and then like he hits it with the safe and then throws his car into Reyes's SUV. I think the car that he hits off with the safe must be
Yeah, I think that's it.
Dante.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
I
like
think there's only one that gets like really cleanly hit into the water, and that's Dante's
there's
car.
one, yeah. There's like one that like kind of hits a cop car, and I don't remember seeing the cop car go down with the SUV that Dante's in. So when
I was
we
really
rewatched
hoping
10,
in that water there was like a little tugboat. I don't know why I want a little tugboat in that water, but there's like I was looking for vehicles and there's nothing in that water. It's just water.
it's kind of lame.
Mm.
But in the other places of the movie that we see, like where Dante was, he's actually believably could be there, and we just like didn't catch
They're
him or
tight
pay
enough
attention.
shots. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like pretty proud of that for for like a franchise that usually doesn't care about its past and then just like adds people in and it's like, whoops, he was there the whole time, whatever. Like this one, I was like, oh, it actually is logical that like he could have just been in the background and we didn't see him.
Well, I think this is the first time, unlike the Jacob thing we were talking about earlier, this is the first time that they kind of show their work. Like they literally use scenes that were not included in this movie, and they digitally add him in, and they have like these kind of things, like as opposed to just being like, Jacob's always been there, you idiot. You just didn't ask about him. He's always been there. Here, it's just like, no, he was in this scene. He was here. He was in this car. He was here. And even if it doesn't quite make sense, at least they're like, no. Like there was like, he was around.
Yeah, you're right. I think that them showing their work, so they must have had to be like, okay, can he fit here? Like we don't definitively not see him here.
Right.
You know?
They very clearly mapped what shot they had and then pulled back out of it so that he was like, I did appreciate the like shot, the way that they thought through the shots of like, this is how much we need to pull back from the scene
safe
so
one,
that you can see that he's here.
Specifically.
Yeah.
Like that's the one that's like, oh wow, yeah, okay, he was just like waiting in the wings or whatever.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Because it's a different note, but I like how, in 10 when we go to formerly Elena's apartment, now Isabel's apartment, and you're like, where are we? You see like all these pictures of Elena on the wall. Like I was looking in this movie and it's like all pictures of people that Elena loves. So like I like the idea that Elena dies and Isabel moves in and Isabel takes down all of her pictures and gives her
pictures of herself.
Pictures of Elena. She's just like, I don't know this guy. I never cared for your husband. I'm gonna hang you up everywhere.
I mean, I guess it does beg the question how much Elena cares for her husband too, because she does her revenge and then immediately is like, okay, Vin Diesel time. So
Well, they're kindred spirits. They both lost someone, which means that they have to be in love.
well, that is true of a lot of the characters in this, but I hear you.
True.
That's the common thread for all of these people.
Seeing Elena's house for me was just weird because they shoot it from like a different angle. Like a lot of it is shot just from like the other wall, and I was like, are we in like a mirrored house? Like this is like that weird, what was like the movie with like that was supposed to be about the weird house that was about something completely different? Joey, do you remember this?
Oh, the one,
It's like Mirror House or something
where there's the house in the woods and everything's backwards.
Yes,
With Rebecca Ferguson.
yeah, and it was like this movie, and we went to go see it, and we were like, that was not what we thought this was going to be based on like the Night House.
The Night House.
Yeah,
Maybe not Rebecca Ferguson. Who was that?
I don't know.
Is it Rebecca Hall?
It is Rebecca Hall. It's the other very talented, very good actor, Rebecca. Mm-hmm. The more unhinged Rebecca, I will say.
But I have not seen it.
It's
Indie darling,
good.
Rebecca Hall.
There's a line here where when they tell Han they're like, Han, you're up. You gotta get the handprint, right? And Han's like, all right, like, gotta go. And Giselle just says, she says, let's go, I'll drive. And I was like, can you imagine Giselle saying to you, let's go, I'll drive? I'd be like, I'll go anywhere. But I'm like, if anyone in this movie said that to me.
Giselle could be like, let's go, I'll die. Like, we'll die. And I'd be like, yeah, sure.
Sure.
I have something perhaps not popular to add to that, but Gal Gadot is also a girl boss actor.
I do think that might be because of the language barrier. Like, I don't think she's a particularly dynamic actor, but I think she's really good. We had someone write in and they said, do people like her in these movies? And we're like, I think so.
I think people generally like her, like minus the whole apartheid Barbie thing. I think that people generally like her, right? I think she's like pretty enough that she just runs.
That's what I feel like. That is what like she has most going for her, to be totally honest. She seems to have a relative amount of talent, but I do think that her looks are the breadwinner there.
I think if you think of her as a model turned actor, she's very good. I think if you think of her just
That's
as
a fair point.
an actor,
that's fair.
maybe not.
While I was watching Hobbs and Shaw, by the way, so the origin of the girl boss actor thing is the movie Red Notice. Because I was like,
Okay.
Jesus, they cast every girl boss in this movie,
Ryan
and
Reynolds is a
I
girl
totally
boss actor.
forgot
Yes.
he's in Hobbs and Shaw.
He's all over
Totally
Hobbs and
forgot.
Shaw.
Totally forgot.
He's in that one location that they filmed all of his scenes in, that one empty diner. Mm-hmm.
He had more than 2 days to shoot for sure.
Definitely.
Oh, you know what? You know what I saw that's really funny, and Joey, you'll appreciate this. That I saw somebody, like, in the context of Barbie, somebody goes, Ryan Gosling is what I wish white men thought about Ryan Reynolds, or like what Ryan Reynolds is to like straight men. Ryan Gosling should be.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, agreed.
Well, I think that's the other thing. It's like Ryan Gosling retired for a couple years to be like a father and be with Eva Mendes and their kids.
Yep.
And you're like, oh shit, I miss him. And Ryan Reynolds like doesn't give you a chance to miss him. He's just everywhere.
Everywhere.
He's always the cameo and everything. And again,
And like The Rock, he's always playing himself.
And like I like him, but there's a certain point where just like enough is enough. Like if he goes away for 4 years, if he comes back and does the same exact thing, you're like, holy shit, I missed this. But like if he's the cameo in every single movie, doing the same thing,
and the Mint Mobile commercials, and Welcome to Wrexham, and Deadpool.
The unbearable weight of massive talent line about letting them miss you, and Nicolas Cage being like, they don't need to miss me. That I think is the Ryan Reynolds philosophy as well.
Yeah.
And you know what? It didn't work for Nicolas Cage, and I don't think it's going to work for Ryan Reynolds.
How dare you?
It didn't. People really didn't like him for a while.
No, that's true. And then, but it's the same kind of thing where it's like, I guess it's the same thing maybe with Ryan Reynolds, although he's not maybe having these kind of projects, but like when Nicolas Cage turns in a pig or an unbearable weight, you're like, oh shit, he still does have it. Like he's still really good. It's just that Ryan Reynolds isn't like giving himself the challenge to try. He's just
He's
like,
not acting.
I'll pop up in that Ghosted movie, playing the same kind of character.
Yeah, he's not acting. He's just in movies.
Yep.
It's Diane Keaton style, which love her, but she's also not acting. She's playing Diane Keaton in every movie.
You know.
I wish I had this power, though. That's kind of fucking awesome. I gotta
I
respect
mean, it's
the
a strong
ability.
sense of self.
Yeah, just for you to be like, hey, Joe, do you want to be in this movie? Like, what's the character like? It's like, I don't know. It's the same shit you always do. You're like, yeah, I'll do that.
Well, I do think that there's
Is
a
it
certain thing
me?
where you don't need to get like a Ryan Reynolds type because like Ryan Reynolds will just be available. It's like, can we get a Ryan Reynolds type? Just ask him. Like, throw him like $100,000. Like he'll, you know,
Yeah.
buy
I'm sure
some
it's
of
a lot
his-
more than $100,000 though.
Buy some of his aviation gin, right?
Oh yeah, you got the fucking gin too.
Yep.
He's everywhere.
He's diversifying the portfolio. Something that he has not done with his acting career since perhaps definitely
Deadpool.
maybe.
Definitely.
Was
Well, that's
Deadpool the
true.
first?
But I feel like Deadpool is still him too. Like
No, that's what I mean. No, I think Deadpool for me, Deadpool is the maximum.
The beginning of the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that. That is like the end point that you hit there, and you're like, now I'm just Deadpool everywhere.
That's true. But that does happen kind of with a lot of those like superhero actors where they sort of get like they're like well cast for the superhero role, and then all of a sudden they can't play anybody else because like they've developed the persona.
Yep. I will say Ryan Reynolds is in one of my favorite episodes of The X-Files, which is set in high school, called Syzygy in season 3. That's pretty good. I think he dies in the cold oven. Spoilers for a 25-year-old.
And he's like a high schooler. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't know that. That's
it's about
awesome.
these two girls who they're like mean girls and they have psychic powers and they just like torment people. It's awesome. I love it. They turn Scully and Mulder against each other. I'm like looking back, like Smoking Aces, I guess he wasn't really Ryan Reynolds yet fully. Adventureland, like The Proposal, like he's Paperman, he's not Ryan Reynolds. Buried, he's
Definitely
really good.
maybe I feel like is the last
Waiting.
thing that I
was
can
it
think
Waiting?
of.
Was he?
Waiting is him also.
Waiting is him, but 05. But like I think as late as 2010,
Yeah.
it wasn't really him. And then he starts like
Blake Lively
R.I.P.D.
did this
Million
to
Ways
us.
to Die in the West. Well, Mississippi Grind, he's great in. I don't know, man. He just doesn't. I think the Deadpool is the
Deadpool,
turning
for me.
point.
Yeah.
When did they have their first child? Was it the same year or round about Deadpool? I feel like perhaps these things coincide where he was like, I am a parent and now I am tired.
They had
Oh,
the 3 daughters. I guess they just haven't maybe announced the gender or whatever. I don't know. But the way that Wiki describes it, the couple have 3 daughters and a baby.
Yes,
Three Men
they
and a
have
Baby?
not. That one is new. The last one is new.
December 2014, September 2016, October 2019, and February 2023. And Deadpool 1 came out in 2016. So basically,
You're
the
right,
year
yeah.
after he has a baby, he's just like, I'm going to do this thing.
I won't be learning any more lines.
I'm overextended. I'm just focusing on dadding and
I'm gonna
Deadpooling.
show up
The
and I'm
two
gonna
Ds.
say whatever I want, and then I'm gonna leave.
Dads and Deadpools.
3 daughters and a baby.
Did you, Joey? I don't know if you saw this. Speaking of Ryan's, and now because I've like just hung up on Ryan Gosling and Barbie. Did you see that? They asked Ryan Gosling about. They're like, what does your daughter think, or your daughters? I think he has 2. Like, think about you playing Ken in Barbie, and he's like, oh, my daughters don't know who Ken is. They have 2 Barbies, and like one's named Gym Class and the other one's Daryl.
Yep.
And Daryl works at a grocery store.
Yeah.
Really and they're like, so they didn't know who Ken was. They were just like, oh, cool, you're like the guy one, whatever. Like,
I will say that Shea Serrano, who tweets a lot about the Fast and Furious, like has made it very well known that like he loves these movies. We're like, hey, come on the show, and he just ignores us. He also tweeted after seeing Barbie, he's just like, I'm gonna do a Ryan Gosling podcast, and my sister responded just like, or you could listen to this one that already exists. And
thank you, Lindsay.
So,
very much appreciated.
Yeah, it's like,
but
hey,
he just ignored that too. He hates us for some reason. I don't know why. Or like he definitely knows we exist and purposely avoids us.
I will say, I don't know if I said this on
Sounds
the podcast
very
or not,
familiar
like,
to something
one
that we
year,
would do.
one of my sister's Christmas gifts to me was she got in touch with him via email and described how much we love these movies and how much she knew he loved these movies, and said she would win Sister of the Year if he would just like be a guest on our show. And he's like, cool, let's do it. And then he ghosted me via email.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. He definitely does know, and he's just like, yeah, fuck those guys.
But he's
That's
wildly
cool.
successful.
Yeah, good for him. I hope he writes another book and it does good numbers.
These 2 right here. I give him money.
Exactly.
Whatever.
He doesn't care.
The least he could do. The least he could do is show up and talk about Fast and Furious.
Is the vault a vehicle? If a person was inside it, would it be a vehicle?
Lisa, here's a question for you before we go. We've been trying to figure out literally every episode what's a vehicle. Is a surfboard a vehicle, in your opinion? Or if that's too far to start, is a skateboard a vehicle?
I think a skateboard. Well, I think they've got to both be a vehicle, right? But this feels like a hot dog sandwich argument where
Is
I'm
a hot
trying
dog
to
a
like.
sandwich?
Yeah.
I feel like I want to say that a skateboard is and a surfboard isn't, but I don't think that makes sense. So I think
No, we kind of landed there. No, we kind of landed there.
It's the wheels.
And using it as a means to transport. Using it as a, because you don't like use a surfboard to you don't like.
But
go
then, so is a
somewhere else.
paddleboard?
Yes.
You could.
Yes. Wait, so
What about like
you
an
say
inner
surfboard
tube?
no, paddleboard yes?
Yes. I think it takes you to a destination. You can use it to move to a destination, not purely for leisure activity. You can use it.
I don't know.
Is the vault?
I mean, you could paddle on a
vehicle?
surfboard. Well, if that's the no, you can't really just take a vault to another destination. You need a motor. So no, by that definition.
Just saying. What if you like had like a nice couch in there and Dom is driving?
I think that's a room.
It's like a trailer.
It's a tiny house. It's a tiny house.
Well, I'm
Okay.
saying if the logic is that you could take it to go somewhere else, presumably without the help of any other outside forces,
Mhm.
right? So then no, the vault is not a vehicle. But
Okay.
we don't have to adhere to that logic. I'm just using the logic that we just said.
I will say that this movie, there's a bunch of different non-car vehicles, but there's also so many different big car vehicles.
Yeah, like all the military shits.
Mhm.
Yeah, those count, but they.
But
You're
they're not
right.
like official. So there's like, so what do you got, Joe? What did you find here? Non-cars.
Gal has the motorcycle, right?
Yep.
For me, the big one in this one is the train. I think
Yep.
the train is probably like the biggest non-car vehicle in this.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. All of the like military vehicles. There's a lot of those, but they're so close to car, right?
But there's
so
like
I don't
buses.
know.
There's the prison transport bus in the beginning. There's the bus
Yes.
at the end that
Yeah.
Justin Lin's kid is watching the vault from.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't count those. Those are steering wheel and pedals and wheels. tires.
But I didn't find any cool vehicles. Did you find anything that
No,
was
there's not cool
interesting or
vehicles.
cool?
So there's the train in the beginning, and then I wrote
Yeah.
down that a car becomes a flying car and then a swimming car.
It's
still a car,
I
but
thought
it's a
this
flying
too.
car and a swimming car.
I thought this too. It's
There's-
not like it actually is like an amphibious vehicle that like they're driving it on water, like a Just Ducky boat or something like that.
There is
Which would be
the
cooler.
we just talked about in the minute the Internet Movie Plane Database.
Yeah.
Or Internet Movie Plane Database. There's the plane that Hobbs gets off of at the start. There's a different train.
You
that-
can hear a lot of helicopters and shit there, but you don't
Yeah.
see any. Like they have the noise of them, and I looked around. Yeah.
There's a train that goes by Han when they're talking about like the chameleon. There's a train that he passes. Like I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's in Tokyo.
It's a
I don't
subway.
know where it is.
Yeah.
But
It seems like a subway car. Yep. Okay.
You said there's Giselle's motorcycle, and then there's also motorcycles at the end that are in pursuit of the speeding safe. Like the police have police motorcycles.
Okay.
But yeah, there's not like fun, funky, weird vehicles. Like there's not like, the Uncle
I was
Jacob.
thinking, like, you're right. Like, you said tugboat, and I'm like, you're in Brazil. You can see that there's a lot of water around. We don't get any surfboards. We don't get any paddle boards.
Nope.
We don't get any fun time boats. Nothing. And I was like, that feels lame.
There's
They'd
one
be
establishing
fishing boats or something. Like,
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, anything.
There's one establishing shot of Rio where like very far away you can see something kind of like flying low, but like I can't. It's so far away that I can't tell what it is. But there's something that's like kind of like in the background of a thing that like you're not supposed to look at. You'd be like, oh, Rio, got it, know where we are. There's like something, but it's not cool. It's just like something flying, some kind of little like maybe like I don't know, who knows. But yeah, there's a lot, but there's just nothing super exciting, which is fine. It's fine.
On the flip side of that, though, I think that this movie actually has some of the coolest cars. Like, all the cars that they steal from the train are, like, very interesting, unique choices. Like, I feel like a lot of the time now they just get, like, the most expensive car they can in the movie, right? Like, it's always like, oh, yeah, this is, like, a 1 of 10, $3 million car, and we're gonna, like, wreck it.
Mm-hmm.
And in, like, these ones, it was, like, sick-ass Corvette, like, a Ford GT, and I was like, oh, this oh, I see you're a man of taste, like car selector for this movie. Like, this is all sick shit. So I'd
except
want
for
that.
Brian, who still gets an ugly car. Brian loves an ugly car.
You think all of his Nissans are ugly? I think the
Well, absurd maybe is the better.
Okay.
They're not all ugly, but he loves to stand out.
he does. He definitely does.
I will say that road trip, or whatever you want to call it, where Brian and
beginning?
Mia drive, looks like the
That
most
Jeep.
boring, painful. Like they both look miserable.
Oh, I think the car looks so sick, but tonally, you're right. As I was watching it this time, I was like, this feels like out of place. It felt very Los Bandoleros
Sure.
of them, and then it just like that's the only part of the movie that they do that, and then it's just back to normal.
Because there's like
Well, and the
somber
music is
playing,
like really calm too. Yeah,
and they're like in
that's,
slow
like,
motion, and
Yeah.
they're
and
both
they're
staring
not talking,
ahead.
they're not looking
They're
at
not-
each other.
Yeah,
It's very weird.
tonally very, very strange in this movie. I agree.
My only other note about this movie is that we talk a lot about in 2 how they kick at a nickel, but Han kicks at 900K in this. He bumps it from a 100K race to a million. We don't give him enough credit for that. Like that's some galaxy
Yeah,
brain
he
shit.
does. That is, and then loses.
And then loses, maybe on purpose, maybe not. Unclear.
I think that we've have like now between this and the like weird and him and DK playing the like the dominoes Pai Gal whatever that they're playing is Han a degenerate gambler.
Yeah, 100%. There's no
Why
doubt
didn't he
about
go to
that.
Monaco then? Well, I guess he had to drive on the highway with Giselle, but I
He's
feel
gonna
If
make
you
like,
out
have
while
Gal
he's
Gadot
driving.
sitting in
Okay.
your lap or gambling all your money away, you're like, I got
take
time
her to
gamble.
Monaco too.
Sure.
Oh, why can't she go to Monaco?
Because you're a degenerate gambler, and she's gonna leave you immediately after she sees that.
We have her take 2, so just gamble your part and then live off of hers.
Ah, good move. That's a boy boss move.
Invest
Exactly.
Invest
Right.
one. Is
What's to
Boy
say you
Boss,
don't win big?
Is Boy Boss just crypto, bro?
No, it's being just a shitbag. I think that's what.
I think
like,
it's like
I
a
ask
Sigma
again,
male.
is Boy Boss being crypto, bro?
Yes. I mean, there's an element to it's a square rectangle situation, right? Like
yeah,
it's got a larger category,
extension.
but they definitely live in there. Yeah.
whiskey
Lisa-
bourbon. We're just expanding the cloud. Yeah.
Lisa,
Yes,
do you have
exactly.
other thoughts? Because we have a couple games we want to play. So any other thoughts
I
about
sure
this
do.
movie? Any
Should
other
I
big
make them
notes?
quick?
You don't have to make them
Let's-
quick. Just, get to whatever you
Okay,
want to get
I'll
to.
make them nice and slow then. I think it's hilarious that Vince calls Brian Buster when they get to Brazil. He's so excited to see Mia. He gives her a big hug, and then he just looks at Brian and goes, Buster, and then they go inside.
Nice little callback to the first movie.
I think that's very male endearing, though. I think that that's like a move that you would actually do as a guy. Like,
yeah.
I really have like tension and hate you, but like I'll just call you the same.
That's a verbal tip of the cap.
Yes.
I
is.
also think it's interesting in that same like 10-second clip. To your point, he's made inroads with the locals. He immediately calls the locals off from Mia and Brian when they get there. Why didn't he just tell them that they were coming so that they don't like point a bunch of machine guns at their face?
You don't want them off guard. This is like the same thing with the safe for me. Like you want them always on guard, and you're like, we'll sort it out afterwards.
But is
like,
he in charge, or is he just like friends with
that's
them?
that's a better question. Yeah, is he like running the what is it, like the Flavella gang?
Is he the boy boss of that Flavella gang?
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe you like get
he doesn't have
married
really
into
boy
it.
boss energy. He is like,
No, he's got scumbag
I don't even know what to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
scumbag. Yeah.
That's why it's like so interesting that he has none of the like disgusting lines in this movie.
Well, I think he has reformed scumbag energy, where his wife is like actually very good for him, and like you can't
That's
take
true.
the scumbag out of the guy, but you can kind of tamp it down a little bit.
That makes sense. Yep. Yeah.
Because he
That's
speaks
fair.
more quietly than he does in the first movie, like just like vocally is softer.
It's not as yelly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess his mom probably passed away. You know, he's come to terms
she
with that.
probably did finally
Wait,
die.
Lisa, do you know in the first movie there's a whole subplot that's cut out where Vince's mom is in the hospital, and so that's why he's
and that's
so
why
angry?
he's all angry?
So it's not only the fact that like
No, I didn't
Brian
know
is there
that.
and he thinks Brian's a cop, which he's right about, and that Brian
Yeah.
is stealing his best friend and the girl he loves, but
Which
also
he's right
Vince's
about.
mom is in the hospital.
And he's all the time that he's away, he's like with her at her bedside while she's dying.
It's tough to be Vince.
And there's like scenes they shot like Vin's like, or Dom's like, "Hey, how's your mother?" She's like, "Oh, thanks. She's doing okay."
Also for your Mia facts, there's like in another one of these like, you know, deleted scenes, I think, does Mia say she's in med school, or like
She
Mia
says that Dom
Yes.
wants her to go to med school because she'll be able to heal him and stitch him up when he gets shot.
Yeah.
This ties in. Maggie and I were just talking about this because in this, one of my only facts about Mia, number 6, is that she was bad at her homework and her dad had to learn how to do the homework every night so that he could help her the next night. And I was telling Maggie that, and she said, wasn't she smart though? Like in the first one, don't they establish her as smart? So like, how did we get
I think
from
that
one
was
thing
more
to the
like
other?
like a spend time with your kid and help them situation. Like I don't think Mia necessarily needed the help. I think it was just like a
That's just
like,
the first time I was rewatching it, I was
yeah,
like, this is my
implies
only
that she's
takeaway.
dumb.
Okay, so I unlearned one. So there are actually only 7 facts about Mia, and you were right.
I will say that on the topic of Mia, I said that she's my favorite character. I do think that there's no coincidence that the movies that have the most Mia are the better movies. This one,
very good.
The first one, she's in a decent amount of 6, which is really good. Movies that she's not in, other than Tokyo Drift, not as beloved.
I do think that she feels kind of like the viewer insert into the movies. Everyone else is like a little bit less of a real person than she is. She displays an appropriate amount of like moral quandary with what they're doing.
From Brian to her, I think you're right. Because we enter with Brian, and then they're like, well, there's this other person who's even more you.
Yeah, so I feel like maybe that has something to do with it. It feels a little bit more possible when she's there. Like, although she is in 9, which so the least possible one.
Not barely, but she's not. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My least favorite Mia moment ever in a movie is in this movie, though. It's when she's so ridiculously fake pregnant at the end that she just has like one large round ball in her dress, and her like arms are very thin.
Well, she's really
her
thin.
legs
like,
and thighs
that
are
can
very
be
thin.
how just like thin women show pregnancy.
I don't know, man. I'm like, if so, amazing, but it's just like this weird ball that's just like very round.
I don't know why they didn't just make her like only a little bit pregnant. Like it doesn't matter how much time has passed.
Yes, exactly.
None of these movies have any semblance into baby time
or restraint. in
Well,
general.
Well, because how, like, the timeline of Dom having this child with Elsa makes no sense. So
No.
Anybody and any child in
the
this
gestational time period in Fast and Furious is anywhere from, like, this Twilight style pregnancy that Mia is having, where it progresses so quickly, versus Elsa seems like she was pregnant for what, like 2 years? Like, I don't, it just doesn't.
This gets into the thing that didn't we say like they have to do time travel because it would explain so much of this? Like,
True,
or
they
like
really
they like
couldn't do a
live in
lot
an
of their-
alternate. Oh, what was it like? Wasn't it West that was saying like they're like traveling, like the gravity is like changing time in these movies?
Oh yeah,
And, like-
is it Dom's gravity? But yeah, that there's
There's like
it was
some
explaining-
force that like is fucking with time, and that would make everything make sense and why they don't care about time.
It also explains why Dom can fly so many cars, because that is one of my notes, is that in 7, Brian screams cars don't fly at him when they're
Yes.
gonna jump. And this is actually the second time, well, that is the third time that Dom makes a car fly. The second one is in Fast 5. And so I just think it's an interesting choice that Brian waited until 3 times of him flying a car until
For him
to tell him
you
that
not,
they
he
don't
can't
fly.
fly. Not
Like,
not
he,
at this
he
height.
has proven they can. I don't know what to tell you, Brian. I don't think that you're right on this. I think
read
in
a
the real
while
world,
ago, Wes writes that the Earth in the Marvel universe is slightly larger than our Earth to accommodate the extra additional countries they have. What if the Earth in the Fastiverse is somehow affected by time? Like, what if the solar system is orbiting near a black hole, so time is affected differently depending on where they
Yes,
are in their
this.
respective orbits, like an interstellar? This could explain why they age so little between 89 and 04, or how Elena suddenly has almost a 1-year-old in 8 when she hadn't been with Dom in several years, or why the 10-second races take several minutes. Maybe this is the key to everything, or maybe I need to take a break and sleep for a little while.
It's making more sense, dude. It is. My last note for the movie was I caught it this time. I always get really hung up on the I know everything about my father. But in this watch, when The Rock first meets Elena, he says, Officer Neves. And I was like, that is not how she would say that name.
Nieves.
Or like Neves.
well, and it's not how the other guy says it either, because he pronounced
Yes,
it.
exactly.
Although on IMDb and on Letterboxd, she's just Elena. There's no last name. Most of these characters don't have last. Like, he's just Hobbs. She's just Mia. She's not even Mia Toretto. She's just Mia. So that's not necessarily a knock again. You know, it's whatever.
Makes sense.
Something that I did write down is that they give you Dom and Brian's birthdays in this one, and I don't think that they're the right star signs. I'm sorry to say.
Ooh, what are
Dom's
they? What do
a
you think they should be?
Virgo. Dom's a Virgo. I don't think that's
I
right.
can see that he would imagine. I can see that Vin would imagine that Dom's sign was a Virgo because of like he would just
feel like
imagine that.
Virgos
But
are
I
like
agree.
risk
He's like a Leo
averse,
or something,
almost.
right?
Yeah. Something a little bit more, a little
Aggro?
less, like a little less planned out. I just feel like he does do some planning, but a lot of it is just like going,
Fly by the seat of your pants. type
yeah,
thing,
and I don't think that's, and Brian's a Cancer, which
What-
that I feel like actually
Do you have
does
the
kind of work.
birthday? Do you have, because there's
Yes.
one fake driver's license we see of his. I think it's the Brian Earl Spillner that says he's born on the 4th of July.
Oh, well, he has another fake one that has Dom's birthday on it, actually. Which I thought was an interesting little,
Wait,
That
is
is
Dom's
weird.
or Vin's?
it's Dom's birthday. So his birthday, according to this movie, is July 14th, 1978. In Too Fast, Too Furious, it's August 29th,
Man,
73,
I am so annoyed because I
which
had
it was Dom's birthday.
in my Google Calendar Brian O'Connor's birthday on July 14th. I have it every year. And then I went to look for pictures online to like say happy birthday Brian, and every picture just had the fake license of July 4th. And I'm like, I guess I've had this wrong, but you're telling me that I was right. Oh, that's so annoying.
It's on the paperwork, I think that Hobbs has.
Makes
But I mean,
sense.
I guess that could be the wrong date. I mean, there's no way to know. But then I did look it up to make sure that was, and that is what that's what the Wikipedia for it says too.
Okay.
So,
Internet
fair.
consensus is too. Yeah.
willing to
Internet
go with
Movie
that.
Birthday database.
Why does I feel like Brian drives so many cars with the steering wheel on the right in countries that
It's the tuner thing. It's
aren't doing that.
You can't take the tuner guy out of the.
It's that, yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like that would be difficult to
Yeah.
get used to. But I mean, whatever. He does a lot of things that I wouldn't do. So why would
It's
that
like
be
it's
any
a
different?
cool thing. It's a cool thing for like in car culture to drive a right hand
Yeah, I mean,
drive car. Yeah.
yeah, I guess. I'm not embedded in car
That's
culture.
what I mean. No,
so-
that's what I was trying to say. Like, yeah, like it's like, oh yeah, you got this import that's like really from Japan. You know,
It
like
feels like that shouldn't. I don't feel like that should be allowed, but I'm also not in charge of the road rules. But
It just
it
seems
feels
like
asking for
they
trouble.
always have like you're supposed to be like in the middle of the road, right? And so if you're driving on the right, you're far away from the middle. It does seem complicated.
Hmm.
I think it would be confusing for my brain. I'd fuck it up.
I did write down that in a parallel universe, this franchise exists exactly the same, except for The Rock plays Dom and Vin Diesel plays Hobbs.
Ooh.
And I am very thankful to live in this universe where the protagonist
You like
is Vin
it better
Diesel and
this
not
way?
The Rock. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you like Vin
Yeah.
Diesel in general?
Well, I think he's a weirdo, but I do like him.
He is a weirdo. I think that's like he's endearingly weird. I think sometimes.
Yeah. I appreciate what he is doing for us. I wish he would stop going live on Facebook, but I appreciate
He goes
what
live
he's-
on Facebook. I've missed those.
Oh, and they're well,
Well, Joe, there was the one that I showed you today. I showed my boss the I
oh,
love
the
music.
old ones. Yeah, yeah.
You saw that one? Did you see that
yeah.
one from
He
like
might have stopped. I don't know.
Yeah.
10 or 15 years ago when like Riddick did well at the box office? He's like, "Thank you," and he just danced to Beyonce and Katy Perry.
I really like that he posts like fan art as his Facebook profile picture. That's like the coolest thing to me. It's like if you just make a cool enough picture of Vin, he's like, yeah, I'll use that. Cool.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Yeah, I like the low maintenance of it where he just sees something and he's like, yeah, that'll work.
Yep.
I do think Vince looks really good in this movie. He looks better than the first one.
He's a little
Perhaps the
bigger.
stress of his mom
Mm.
finally passing has alleviated something
Yeah,
within
now
him.
you have the answer to why he looks better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's also super sweaty all the time, so I feel like maybe he's just like lost some water weight.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I am thinking a lot about how many people die in these movies, how many just like civilians, and obviously like the safe is a big
Oh, yeah.
accelerant of that. But I can't believe how much just like pure infrastructure damage they do to Rio, and then they go back and do it again.
Yeah.
Like that's the same
You think
thing
they
as
would
when
be banned like on the wall at the airport? Like, don't let these people back.
Yes, and I think that about which one is it where Dom is like, I have to do this final battle on my home turf, and he takes them all to LA. Is that
7.
6? 7. I think that's why would you want to destroy your home? Take them to a town you're never gonna go. Go to like Boise. Like
Even
I just thought that
Miami.
was so. I mean, like, yeah, home turf, I guess, is real, but like, why would you be like, you know what? I know these guys are coming in with their big guns, so where I would like them to be is the place where my taxes are going to go up.
I-
Or is he just like, I've paid so many taxes into this town? Although we also talked about maybe he's a tax evader,
Maybe he's
whatever.
not paying taxes. Yeah,
But
I don't
like,
think he's
you
paying
know,
taxes.
I may as well like
cash.
get some like, you know, they can pay for my own I don't know, who knows. I can see like there's a twisted like warped ego thing where it's like, I paid for kids to go to school. I don't have any kids. Other people can pay for my like wanton mayhem and destruction.
That's a fair. I mean, it's not a fair point.
No, it's
but
not a
I
fair
could
point. It's a
see
terrible
him
idea,
thinking
but
that it's a fair point.
An idea. It is so girl boss of you to be so flattering of all these terrible ideas and questions that we have.
Okay, something that I definitely do want to talk about is the push to talk walkie-talkies while they're all driving stick shift cars.
yeah.
What's the logic behind that?
I think.
And they're not using an earphone. Also,
no.
later in the movie, they are talking about doing the heist like on the intercoms on top of the police cars, just out about town. Like someone could definitely hear that.
Walkie-talkies are also like super insecure, but they're the like the radius is small.
That's what I was gonna say. They must have a crazy rate. Like these, so they're really nice walkie-talkies. You couldn't get ones that you can leave.
Yeah, like even for cheap, like when we were kids, we would like dick around and buy like Motorola ones, and for like $40 you could get ones that were like a mile, 2 miles long with like all these channels. So like they are cheap. Like you can get new ones. They're not secure, but if you like talk in a code or whatever, so like it kind
Yeah.
of makes sense.
Yeah, but they're never talking in a code.
No, they're just overtly just like
You've carved out a 10-second window. Here's where you are. Here's where they are.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm always just like, why not? They have cell phones at this point. It's 2011. Like, why are we not just doing a big call or something?
Well, they're also on the run, right? They're always
Well,
like
that's true,
evading the
but-
cops. So like,
So this
the
is just like
cops are
what they
gonna-
could get like at a Rio de Janeiro bodega, basically.
let's
Like
buy
this is
a
what was
burner.
available.
That, and because the cops aren't gonna like like the cops can listen into your walkie-talkies, but they're not like gonna hack
Yeah.
them and know that you're like specifically calling everybody and recording it and shit like that.
I just also think maybe you would like shell out for the ones that you don't have to hold the button down, but
You would think.
that's
Yeah.
it just seems
Also true,
with the
yeah.
stick shift like it would be hard to do both. They're
Yeah.
always holding it in their right hand too, which is the hand that they need. I also think when Vin Diesel is yelling that Brian is a father, it sounds just like Margot Robbie yelling, "You're a father now, Jordan," in Wolf of Wall Street,
Ah.
which is a fun little nugget.
You're a father now, Brian.
You're a father now, Jordan?
Oh, I meant to say this when you were talking about I remember everything about my father. My favorite Vin Diesel line read in this one is "Ladies foist."
Ladies first.
Ladies foist.
It's right at the beginning.
At the end too, he like I have like a theory that he and Brian are really hungover at points of this movie.
He and Brian or he and Paul?
Like, well, yeah, he and
Yes.
Paul,
Oh.
Yeah.
not he and
Not the
Brian.
actors.
Like Vin and Paul are really hungover. Like they were having a good reunion time. Cause like that last scene where they like pull up with Elena, like for the first time ever, Paul Walker has like lazy eye syndrome going on. I think it's just like he's so hungover from the night before.
So this is your theory from Too Fast extrapolated to this movie now.
Yeah, I think that it's moved over, and like all of those like really dumb line reads and like Vin mumbling and shit is just
Yeah.
like him like drunk or hungover.
I mean, it's a good point, but also I just think that it could just be laziness. I don't
Also
think
true.
that
Yeah.
he has sort of he gets kind of a mush mouth sometimes.
Or just like poor elocution, right? Like just he's
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like he does it, and they're like, "Do we want to get a safety?" And he's like, "No,
not. Nope.
I am done." And then my favorite line my favorite thing that he does in the movie is when at the end when Hobbs says, "Toretto, I'll see you soon," and Vin just goes, "No, you won't."
No, you won't.
Psych.
Like, it's such a cute little, like, it seems so out of character for Dom to do, but I just, like, I really like it. I don't know, it's fun. And then the Danza Kuduro beat drop is so good there.
Yeah.
And then I don't get why we use Monica at the end, and that pretty much covers.
It is
There's
There's a
one
lot
of
of
those
really
she's
weird
back.
editing.
Oh, Monica.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I get
thought
why
you
they
said
went
we
to
had
Monaco.
Yeah.
Monaco
I don't
Fuentes.
understand why that seems like an expensive cameo, but
I wonder if like they were gonna like
they had
because
plans.
there's historically there's like two scripts for Too Fast, one with Vin Diesel, one without Vin Diesel. Like I wonder if they were like maybe if we like pay her here and like there's a version of 6 that has her in it and she couldn't do it or something or like.
That's true. This is kind of right around at the time when she kind of decided that she was done acting. So that
Because
could be
Fair,
as well.
yeah.
It feels like a nice way to bring her in. Like, oh, she's law enforcement, sort of, right? Like,
Right.
you know, even though we never see her really in that capacity, but she is undercover.
Right.
So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's disappointing because like she should come back 'cause she's great, but you know.
I hope they get somebody else to do her hair if she ever does come back. She has such 2008 prom hair the entire time she's in Too Fast.
She's
and
off
Furious.
married to Ken. She doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
She's
and
totally
as
set.
well she shouldn't. But
Exactly.
it would be fun for me. I would like to get Suki. That's number one priority is Suki.
Amen. Amen. Same.
Ava can be on the list too if she wants. Is there anybody else that I think I would like to come back? Nobody's ever dead in these, so I guess John Cena.
Well, do you think that he's dead?
No,
Do you think? And so, are you in agreement
no body,
that,
no
like-
crime.
There you go. Very, very
I
Taylor.
need to
We
see
got there.
a body in a casket, and then they close it, and then they put that exact casket. Don't break the shot. They need to put that exact casket into the ground.
All in one take. Mm-hmm. All in one. So I mean, but you're of the mind that like the 4 like Roman and Tej and Ramsey and Han on that plane are not dead, and Dom and Baby B are not dead in the.
No way.
Nobody's dead.
I feel like they could kill off one person that was on the plane, make the rest injured. but I feel like there's no way you can get rid of the whole B plot.
That's a new take. Just one of them dies.
Well, I mean, I feel like at some point you gotta like if you if you never actually kill off any of the characters, then the stakes are never anything because like why would I ever get invested in any of these plots if they keep I didn't love that we had Giselle in the submarine for that exact reason. It was like, okay, like no one ever dies in these movies. Everyone sort of in their own right is a fan favorite at this point. So I feel like I don't even know who they would.
Yeah, like Diogo.
Who do you exactly like our guy,
our man?
Like our
we
main
finally got
guy.
him back just to kill him.
Yeah,
it's such a tragedy. I'm never watching one of these again, except for that I already did watch 6 more after I watched this movie.
Well, you are a hero, and you should be commended. And are you ready to find out which of these characters you are?
I sure am.
So we have 7 questions. There are 6 multiple choice answers per question. You can either explain your answer or not. That's totally up to you. But there's, once again, no wrong answers. There's 25 different outcomes, and we will find out which Fast and Furious character you are. Question number 1, Lisa, how fast are you? NASCAR, roller coaster, Lamborghini Murcielago, Toyota Prius, Vespa, or Razor scooter?
How fast am I at what?
Open to interpretation.
I'll go Vespa. That feels fun.
Question number 2, how furious are you? The Hulk, Kylo Ren, Christian Bale on that one movie set, that one time, Mel Gibson, Charlie Brown, or Jack McBrayer?
I'm not very furious, to be honest. We'll go Jack McBrayer. Oh, well, Charlie Brown is probably more accurate, but I'll...
Lisa, we have a barbecue. We're having a barbecue. How are you helping? Are you on the grill? Are you saying grace? Are you kicking back with a beer? Are you babysitting? Are you being the entertainment? Or are you sneaking a snack?
I don't think you want me to cook at a barbecue because I don't know how to cook meat and I don't want to poison everyone. So I'm going to pick kicking back with a beer.
Cool.
Works for me.
You've got time to kill. What are you doing? Are you grabbing a bite, working on your car, hanging with friends, drinking a beer, working out, or doing some work on your computer?
I can't do 2 beers in a row. Well, I mean, I definitely can. Realistically, the answer is work. So I guess I have to say that.
Working on your computer? Okay.
I wish I had a different answer, but
it's okay.
For accuracy's sake.
Lisa, please describe your wedding. I'm never getting married. It's just me and my partner. It's us and our families. It's a backyard country affair. Everyone I know is there. I don't remember.
Well, I haven't had a wedding.
So your dream wedding, your Barbie dream wedding. In your Mojo Dojo Casa house.
Barbie doesn't get married. That's
my
the whole
dream
fucking
wedding.
point. Did you watch the movie, Joey? Jesus Christ.
It is funny that if it's a dream wedding, that one of the choices is I don't remember.
Well, maybe it's so good that you don't remember.
Well, a lot of people say that actually. All goes by really fast. What was the not a country affair though?
Backyard
I guess
country affair.
That's my family.
Us and our families. Everyone I know is there.
I'm not a country boy. I'll go with my family.
Us and our families. Okay. Congratulations, you just won the lottery. What are you buying? Your own garage, a private plane, I'm gambling it all away, my childhood home, a fleet of cars, or a new life?
Not like a house?
Your childhood home, or, whatever.
Well, I still got that, actually. I mean, not me, but, so I'll say a fleet of cars. I guess I'll just sell them.
Okay.
Oh, smart. Okay.
So I thought you were undeniably one character. That last answer brought a lot of people into focus here. So this last question will decide it all. What is your drink of choice? Belgian ale, Corona, something fruity, water, whatever's cheapest, or just when Joe goes to the bar, just get me one of whatever you're having?
I don't know out of those. My drink of choice is tequila. So I guess I'll go Corona. That feels the closest approximation.
I wonder, have we had this person before? This is so exciting.
Oh my god, Diogo.
You are... It wasn't even an option. He wormed his way in here. Lisa, you're someone...
Our favorite character.
We've never had this person before.
Okay.
I'm excited.
No.
This is rare. This is
Only
very
a
rare air.
3.32% chance. Joe, do you have any idea who Lisa might be?
No, because I was thinking she was leaning very, very Tej.
That's who I feel like is the most
she was
accurate.
Ramsey for a while, so similar.
Ramsey's,
girl,
yeah, girl
AKA
Tej.
Girl Tej. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, sneaking in at the very last minute to overtake Ramsey. Lisa, you're Jessie from the very first movie.
No!
Oh, we've never had a Jessie
You
before.
love to tinker
That's
with
like the
things,
worst answer.
but your
Why?
mind is always moving a mile a minute, which can make it hard to concentrate. I don't think I've ever heard this, or if I read this, it was years ago. Your enthusiasm for the things that make you truly happy is a huge benefit to those around you. Check. And you're always eager to please your family, but this same quality can get you into trouble if you don't slow down to think things through. You sometimes underestimate the size of a problem or overestimate your ability. This is
Kind of
so
a
much
tough
more
read.
negative than everyone is.
It's not untrue, but
You
it is
sometimes
a little
underestimate the size
of
of
a
a
drag.
problem or overestimate your ability to overcome it, which is your biggest flaw, and you drive like
The wind blows.
bit.
Does that feel real? Does that feel close?
A lot of it, yeah, I guess. It's
I
not
mean, it is a little
especially
astrology where it's
flattering.
like it all kind of applies. So most of these, our, a listener who writes in a lot, Wes, who's also a Patreon supporter of us, wrote all of these, and they're all like you're a little bit negative, but like it's a mostly positive thing. This is just like you're a little bit negative, but then you're really negative.
Neurotic.
It's like this is. So congratulations,
have
you are the
anxiety,
one
so-
negative character outcome we have apparently. So
Thank you.
boy, sorry about that, but
I
that's exciting.
have no traits. I have one trait, which is that my dad's in jail, and then I die. That's
And then
my
you
You
die.
have a second
character
trait.
arc.
You have ADHD, that attention deficit.
I
whatever.
do have ADHD, so
And you're very good at building engines.
yeah, that I don't. I have no particular interest in cars in real life, despite loving any car chase movie I come across. I still live close to my parents, and I make my dad do a lot of the things that need to be done to my car, and he always wants to tell me about whatever he's had done to my car. I'm like, I don't care. You just please tell me how much it costs. I am not interested
bring
in
it
what
back
happens
so
to
I can
it.
drive it around.
The final thing to do before we end the episode is this ain't no 10-second race, aka boy, do we have a podcast for you.
Boy, do we have a podcast for you. Come and check out our show. Yeah.
This is where we go on twitter.com, aka the X
The X app.
hmm And we find any tweet from someone about these
Go
movies.
back and say it again without that part. We're not calling it X.
It
Oh, no, we're
is
not.
the
He
X
is, but we're
Oh.
not.
We
I
used to
know.
say the bird app because that's somebody, one of our listeners described that we like that, but now there's no bird anymore. Anyway,
All right, sorry. I interrupted your
no,
spiel.
you're
No,
fine.
you're okay.
Elon interrupted all of us, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So before we do this episode's picks, I'm going to review last episode, and I think I remember Jay, past guest Jay Cluett of Deeply See the Podcast, got like serious points because I think he while we were recording or right after we stopped recording, he had some responses. So, Joe, I found Brian Schmid at Schmanthony P, who gives his Fast and Furious rankings in response to someone talking about their Mission Impossible rankings and how the internet's going to be mad at them. I said, it's hard to rank 9 perfect movies. This is a great order. Boy, do we have a podcast for you. And our follower, our listener, Nick Nip, liked and retweeted, but Brian did not, so swing and a miss for me. Joe, you found Mark at Cryz Skywalker. I will certify myself as the biggest fan of the Fast and Furious movies if it's the last thing I do. We said, well, bud, you might be in contention, but I think we take the crown. Boy, do we have a podcast for you. Once again, Nick Nip liked and retweeted, but Cryz did not. Jay found 2, I think, which we let him play both. Night of the Living Podcast at Night of the LP. Fast and Furious 1 to 4 had me wanting to risk it all in a street race. Movies 5 to 8 have me looking at my Honda, trying to figure out how I'm going to use it to save the world and my family. We said, at least you've got a Honda. Try doing this with a Schwinn. Boy, do we have a podcast for you. Nick Nip, once again, liked and retweeted, but Night of the Living Podcast liked it and replied saying, well, I know what I'm listening to in the morning. So Jay gets 6 points.
Good job, Jay.
Which,
He's on the board.
Lisa,
Shit,
I want to
that's
say
wild.
it is so wildly difficult to get points in this game for no seeming reason. So shout out to him. And then he also played, Bruce Campbell at Groovy Bruce. Me equals Fast and Furious. And then he was a face swap of him onto all different Dominic Torettos. And we said, boy, do we have a podcast for you. And Garrett Smith, fan favorite Garrett Smith, liked it. But Bruce Campbell, unfortunately, did not. But Jay gets 6 points, which is very exciting.
That's awesome for him. Good job, bud.
Joe, you sent one in. I did find this one. I was just searching for Fast 5, and I just found this because it was funny. Someone just says, forgot to tell him my car clock is fast 5 minutes faster, had him running to work. And just like somebody saying, like, clock's 5 minutes fast, but they said fast 5.
Fast
so
5,
like,
yeah.
Okay. But Joe, do you want to hit us with your tweet first?
Yes, my tweet is from Caitlin at Faux Show. It's Caitlin with a K. K-A-I-T-L-Y.
Oh, you're copying my thing that works so well with the Suki shirt. This exact shot, but okay.
In case there was any doubt, I was definitely the biggest Fast and Furious fan in the theater. #family, #Vin Diesel is my BFF, and it's Caitlin wearing this sick-ass Fast and the Furious t-shirt that just says, like, Fast and Furious 20. It has all of their pictures on it of, like, all the family and the cars, and it's awesome. I think we should say, Caitlin, 1, where did you get that shirt? 2, boy, do we have a podcast for you.
I'm going to, I could say that if you want, but what we've had very
What?
much success with is just, sweet shirt, boy, do we have a podcast for you.
Okay, yeah, do that then. Just hit, yeah, I'll piggyback that one.
I'm
like
trying,
it.
I mean, we could say, but I feel like us asking questions does not work in this game.
I always feel like questions is a good in, right? Like, where did you get
Joe,
that
you're
shirt to
not
get
wrong.
my
It's
reply?
a great in. These people don't care.
Okay, cool shirt. Yeah, just hit them with the, yeah.
Sweet shirt.
Okay.
Boy, do we have a podcast for you.
You're using
Yeah.
that Instagram influencer strategy of being like, what's your favorite kind of weather on
Yeah.
your photo?
Does anybody know how
Get your
to make
engagement up.
Engagement
chocolate
is the most
milkshake.
important thing. Lisa, did you
Who's
find
your
a tweet?
favorite coffee?
I did. Should I just send it to you?
Can you DM it to, I'm logged in as Too Fast. Can you DM it to either
yeah.
Too Fast, or if you want to send it to me, I can log out. It's fine.
No, that's fine.
You got it from the Frogman. Hit us with this tweet, please, and thank you.
Fast 5 has a quarter-mile cop car drag race that takes 1 minute and 2 seconds to complete, making their average speed roughly 14.5 miles per hour. It is also the film where Vin Diesel isn't sure if Brazil has a Z or an S, so he pronounces it with both.
It's a beautiful tweet. So
I like that one.
We
That's
respond with a boy, do we have a podcast for you, but we can customize it any way you want. Is there something you want to add to the top of this tweet?
A lot of what we talked about today is similarly nitpicky to those things. So I don't necessarily have like an exact line in mind, but
So
I did
what I would
feel
say
like,
then maybe is like, if these are the things you're thinking about
Mhm.
while watching this movie, boy, do we have a podcast
I know
for you.
everything about Yafada.
perfect. Ladies voiced.
Ladies voiced, yeah. That's a really good one. I always forget about that one, but thank you. The Fada one gets me so distracted. Like, as soon as it's coming, like I see them standing out on that balcony, I'm like, I know everything about my Fada.
Mm-hmm.
Also, then we were trying to list facts about Maggie said she thought that the character that we learned the most about is Brian, and so I only made it to 12 Brian facts, so it's not that many
That's
more.
a lot of Brian facts.
But one
though.
of them was dead dad, and then I rewatched this movie and turns out not dead.
No,
or
just
at least-
absent.
Yeah. So only 11 facts. Well, I guess absent father can replace dead
Mhm.
father.
Yeah,
But
that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, well,
I'm gonna go with this one, which I thought was I found one before was about like rankings, and like I'm just like enough of the rankings. So I found this one from Tony Masters in parentheses Ant and AJ fan at Taskmaster 717 breaking : after the box office hit Fast 10, or in this case Fast X, Elon Musk will be rebranding Twitter to honor true cinema.
Ah.
Because I was
Very,
like,
very
I searched
appropriate, yep.
Fast X Elon Musk, and I had to wade through some nonsense, but I found this one. I'm saying, let us know when he rebrands the site Tokyo Drift. Boy, do we have a podcast. for
Oh,
you.
good one.
Can you imagine? Hey, can you drift me? Redrift?
Bama Boy. I'm camping Bama Boy so hard as my username if that happens.
How come I never see you drift? because you never redrift. Anyway,
Are you
Lisa.
are you sub drifting me right now?
That would make Elon Musk the Drift King.
Oh,
We can't do this.
it's all
But
there.
maybe we could exile him from the country. If we could exile him from the country at the end, I'm fine with making him the Drift
Okay.
King
You
for
know
a
what?
little bit.
Good. Yep.
Deal. Handshake.
Yep. We steal his wife and then we exile him from the country.
He exiled himself from his wife, I think.
Yeah, I always get bored in that part. I don't.
He definitely exiled himself from his daughter, that's for sure. But
Well, that's true.
Lisa, thank you so much for joining us and for talking about the weirdest, most specific, most wonderful details of this movie that anyone's ever
This was great,
brought.
yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was a delight. I would love nothing more than to nitpick. So
Would you like to plug? Where can people find you if you want to be found? Twitter, Letterboxd, anywhere or nowhere. Totally up to you.
I can be found on Twitter. The username is
mean
embarrassing
X?
to say out
X.
loud, and now I have to do that.
Well, you don't have to. We'll tag you in it on X.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
yeah.
Nobody look at the username if you are looking at this. It is from when I was 16 years old, so oops. And I'm on Letterboxd. It's EFW, and the display name is Lisa with the little alien emoji.
And
Love it.
she's very good on there. So I say to follow her, don't follow me.
Follow
Anyway.
everyone.
Follow everyone. Sure, why not?
The follows are
X
not
them.
limited,
X
unlike
them.
on X.
Ooh, yes. I also do want to give a special shout out to our patrons, Cassie Wilson, Nick Burris, Alex Ellen, Justin Kleiman, Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber
Ooh.
Party, Wes Hampton, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke, Hayden Renato, D. Donato, Michael McGann, Lane Middleton, Lindsay Lewandowski, Nate Milton of the Kings of Sport, Jason Rainey, Tom Price, Mike Gallier, Josh Buckley of Whole Lotta Wolves,
Yep.
Michael Moser, Christian Larson, Tara Newone, Aaron Willows, Natalie Absolute, and Jessica Collins, a.k.a.
Montez.
Thank you all for supporting us on patreon.com, toofast2forever.com. Joe, our next episode, the 3-hour Bollywood modern epic RRR, coming at you next week, which is very exciting.
Over under on musical numbers.
A lot. I mean,
That's a lot.
You know about it. Like if you watch the Oscars, there was all over the Oscars. They had that song.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's
okay.
I've never seen it.
I didn't know
Lisa,
it
have you seen
was a
I'm
musical.
I'm assuming you've seen it.
I haven't, because they had only, it was on Netflix, but not with the language was wrong. The
They dubbed
captions
it,
were,
not
they dubbed it,
Oh.
lame.
and we wanted to watch it with the subtitles. Yeah.
That
So we
makes
never
more sense.
got to that. But it was on our, we were trying to watch all the Oscar movies, so it will get done before this year's Oscars. When we
Well-
have to start watching 75 more movies.
Yeah, next week, RRR, with or without subtitles, with or without dubbing, who knows? We will talk about it then. But for all things Too Fast, Too Forever, to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFast2Forever, or at TooFast2Forever on X, Instagram, or YouTube. Email us, family.
It sounds so much cooler.
It sounds so cool. Email us, family@x.x. Don't, it's not going to get to us. Patreon.com/X or cageclub.me/X for our shop.
X.
Actually, X will bring you to Nico's podcast, so you could do that. That's fine. Go there. That's fine. And come back next week for RRR. I'm Joey Lewandowski,
I'm Joe too.
and that was Lisa Williams, and we will tell you all about it
When we see you again.